Okay,
We
we're
up?
back. Yep, we're back.
All right, so I want to tell y'all a story. I got a friend. We call him, well, I call him Chi, but he's known as Tunji, right? I grew up with Chi. Him and I, both our best friends, his best friend and my best friend were the same person, right? And so we spent a lot of time, high school, college, growing up. You know what I'm saying? He's somebody who I trust. He's somebody who I love. And lately, this brother has been very globally minded. He started a beard oil company, and he goes back and forth because, by the way, he's royalty in Nigeria, right? And so he goes back and forth. I always joke with him about him going back and forth because he travels like you don't see people travel as freely as he travels, right? Most of the time when people travel to a place very far, it takes them a lot to do it. They're preparing, and you can see Tunji today, and on Tuesday he's in Nigeria, and he'll call you, and I'm in Lagos. I'm like, you were just here. How are you in Lagos, right? So he's that kind of spirit. He was telling me about, I got a guy, man, and his family is very deep in the leather game, and his family has been giving leather skins to some of the most amazing the thises and the that's. And I'm like, okay, like, I guess you could find people all over, right? Yeah. I didn't really, I'll be honest with you, I didn't give it the credence, right? And then he started sending me stuff about you. The website, and people making TikToks about the history of your family. And then I realized that he was talking about somebody that's very important, right? And a family and a legacy that was very important, right? So now I'm thinking differently, because now I'm like, well, wait a minute. Tunji is really tapped in to a family that has a legacy in fashion, particularly leather. And this is a very black conversation to have, because in America, black Americans are consumed by aspirational luxury. Gucci, Louis Vuitton, right? These are the things, these are the trappings of consumerism in black America. And he's telling me about a family that has provided the leather for these organizations, for these companies. And so then I want to know. So now I'm like, well, who is this brother? Tell me about this brother. And that's when he starts telling me about the fact that you're planning to come here, and you have an idea and a vision for the legacy of your family's organization.
Absolutely.
And that's amazing to me. And so, we're here, right? You and I have had conversations, and, we did all we could to accommodate. And now that you're here, I want the world to know that you're here. Well, shit, I want Brooklyn to know that you're here, right? I want New York City to know that you're here. I want for people to understand your story. We were supposed to meet today at Restoration. We didn't, like I just said offline. I hadn't even thought about this avenue. But then when I was in the barbershop and we were talking via text, I was like, man, you got to come on down. And so even though it's 8:30 and, this is our second interview for the day, we got to have this story.
Appreciate that.
I want to introduce to some and present to others Winston from Winston Luxury Leather.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I want you to tell your story. Tell me about your family.
Well, so my family is the leading leather manufacturer in Nigeria. So we've been making leather for over 30 years. And we make leather for a lot of the biggest fashion houses in the world. So a lot of people don't know that Nigerian leather has been exported for more than 500 years.
I didn't know that.
A lot of people don't. As far back as 500 years ago, the Western traders and the Chinese traders would come to Timbuktu, Mali, and Morocco to buy what today is known as Nigerian leather. And Nigerian leather is some of the most valuable leather in the world.
What makes it valuable?
The quality. The animals, the breeds of animals that we have in Nigeria make for the best leather. So, the most popular type of leather is goat, sheep, and cow hides. Nigeria has the best three in the world. So a lot of the biggest fashion houses buy that Nigerian leather directly or indirectly. You know what I mean? Now, sometime like 20 years ago, the British royal family had bought a chair like some furniture, and they wanted to revive it 20 years ago. So they had it for over 100 years, and they wanted to revive it, and they're trying to trace the origin of that leather. And so they bought it in Morocco. So they get to Morocco. The company is called Chippendales. You can read up about them. They come to Morocco and they can't find this leather because this leather isn't actually Moroccan leather. And they trace the leather, and turns out this is Nigerian leather. So there's this big British company operating in Nigeria called the Brandlers. At the time, my family was their major supplier. And so we keyed in. And then the story got out there that we have the best leather, and then a lot of the big fashion houses started coming in. So we've worked with like Louis Vuitton, Ralph Lauren, Prada, Fendi. A lot of the big fashion houses actually get their leather from Nigeria, and a lot of people don't know that. So for the longest time, we've been exporting the raw material. And I do feel like that's why Africa is poor, because we have abundant natural resources. We've got crude oil in Nigeria, but we export crude oil and we import petroleum. We export cocoa and we import chocolate. You know, you have cocoa farmers in Africa who have never tasted chocolate. That's an injustice. That's wrong. You know what I'm saying? And it's one thing to sit there and complain and talk about it, but it's another thing to start your own brand. Right? And I'm like, wait, if my leather is good enough to make leather for the biggest fashion houses in the world, then why can't I make my own bags and shoes? You know what I mean? And that's the vision behind Winston Leather. And so recently, the story we were talking about a guy on TikTok. So after a while of supplying Italians the Nigerian leather, right? They start branding it as Italian leather. So it's called If you remember back in the day, Italian leather was the best.
That was the leather, right? That's what you wanted your jackets, right?
Now, after a while, the Union of Leather Manufacturers in Nigeria came together and decided, you know what, we want to get credit for our leather because this is Nigerian leather. We want the world to know that this is Nigerian leather. And we litigated it in court. We were in court back and forth, back and forth. After the case, they stopped using the name Italian leather, but they wouldn't call it Nigerian leather. And so they start calling it genuine leather. And that's why you have a lot of genuine leather, because they don't want to give the credit
to Nigeria.
You know, and then after a while you realize, look, these people are hell-bent on not giving us our flowers. You know what I'm saying? And so we got to take our flowers. And if you have someone else making the finished product, then they get to put whatever credit they want on the label. But if you make it and you have the finished product, then you control the narrative. And that's what we're doing on Winston Leather.
How long has Winston Leather been open?
So officially we started in 2019, but then like I said, my family has been making leather for over 30 years.
So tell me about that process, going from just selling and producing the raw material to moving into processing into finished work, and now creating a brand, because that's a whole different business scheme.
It's a whole different ballgame. So it's not been easy, and you know, the first step was when I was in university. I went to university in England, University of Nottingham, and I took a year off. I said, you know what, I want to go to Italy. I want to go see what they're doing. I mean, it's not rocket science. These guys are smarter than us. They just know what to do.
They just know the process.
They just done the research. They've learned the process. And why can't I do that? So I moved to Italy for a year. I lived there, and I was way more motivated, man. Because, I mean, we grew up rich, right? But then the wealth I saw in the people who we were supplying leather to was a different kind of wealth. I'm like, you know what? This is our raw material. So we can be this wealthy if we can package it better, if we can process it better. And so I started learning, and after 1 year in Italy, when I got back to Nigeria, I took a bunch of my staff and I took them to Italy. And I paid a lot to train them to get the same skills that the Italians have. Because at the end of the day, it's a sewing machine, it's a guy, it's a thread, it's leather, it's a process. And if you learn it,
where did you train them?
In Italy.
I mean, did you like go to a house and say, well, listen, I need my guys, or did you find?
I went to a house who have been making leather bags for over 100 years. You know, the Italians, listen, Julius Caesar in the Bible, Jesus in the Bible wore leather sandals. Leather is the oldest material known to mankind. In the book of Genesis 3:21, you know, there's a God, after casting Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden, he took the skin of an animal and he clothed them. So the first material that man wore
Was leather.
as clothing was leather.
Right.
So there's a lot of technology, years and decades of technology, and centuries actually, of leather technology. So I took my staff there. We were there for about a year. We trained, and then we got a grant from the British government to train in Japan. So I was to go, but I'm like, look, I'm not the guy who's going to be stitching the bags. And then I pushed my tailors forward. And then 3 years later, we start Winston Leather. So it took a while, but then we hit off in 2019, around the time of, George Floyd, that's his soul. There was a big push for buy black. And then we just went viral online in America and started popping. And I started coming out here. Last year we made it to New York Fashion Week, so safe to say it's going good.
Good. How does your family feel about the move? But what you've done is add on, right? And by that I mean you come from a family who has a particular legacy and a particular chamber, and you've added on to that. You've added, and now you've created. Do you buy, this is a stupid question, but do you buy raw material from your family, or do you get it from elsewhere?
Hell yeah. We're the best in the business.
Right.
So if I'm buying it anywhere else,
you're getting it from your family.
I've been doing a disservice to myself.
Absolutely.
So I feel my family is very proud. My dad is, at the beginning, he didn't quite see the vision. And then one day I'm on CNN.
Right.
And his friend called him. And he's like, yo, I just saw your boy on CNN.
Right.
And then over time, he's like, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
You made the right call.
Yeah, you got it. Right.
You got it.
Right.
Because we got a lot of stick when we started, The big fashion houses weren't happy with us trying to start our own thing. So they tried to shut us down. And he was a bit skeptical, but I feel now he knows we made the right decision.
I want to know how the reception has been of your product and your brand in America, but then also how the reception has been in Africa.
Yeah. So in Africa, it's been amazing. We're quite well known in Nigeria.
Right.
And because of the quality of leather we make and leather goods we make, it didn't take long for the celebrities and the influencers to key into the brand. And so there's a lot of support for made in Nigeria. The government is supporting, and we're getting there. In America, it's been a bit slower because people just don't know.
Right. And people here are more attached to brand recognition.
As opposed to
they feel like brand and quality go hand in hand,
but
right?
But not necessarily. You see, there was an expose recently about the Dior bags that retail at $2,000. The cost of production is $57.
Yeah.
That's not even leather.
It's not even leather.
So what justifies a $57 cost of production being sold at $2,000? Luxury should be more than just an expensive price point. There should be more to it than just it's expensive. That's why it's luxury.
Right.
And that's some of the things we try to bring to bear. So at my pop-ups, we have 200 options of leather. So besides what is available to buy, you can actually pick any of the material you want.
So customization.
And have it customized.
Right.
Because think about it, if the Queen of England was gonna have a bag, she's not gonna pick what's on the shelf.
Right.
She's probably gonna get 200 options that she's gonna pick. That is luxury. You know what I mean? Not just an expensive price point.
Right. Do you feel consumers need an education on, because this story is a story that when I heard it, I was amazed. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was amazed, right? So I, obviously Tunji put me on, but then even when I heard the brother on TikTok and he kind of just laid it out, I was amazed, right? And it drew me into wanting to know more about your family, your legacy, but then also this idea of, like you said, for so long Africa's been the supply house of raw material, and then that raw material has been taken and processed and branded and sold back to us at a premium that is ungodly. And so I wanted to know about your business model. So now you and your work have taken, it's like seed to sale almost. So it's from the very beginning to the very end, your family owns the opportunity to do that. How many people do you employ?
Combined total between my business and my family's
Yes.
business, about 400 people.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys have a complete ecosystem, an economic
And those
ecosystem.
are jobs that wouldn't exist in Africa.
Right.
They'd exist somewhere else.
Right.
Because now the shoemakers are making money, the tailors are making money, hell, the cleaners are making money. You know, in every single extension of the value chain, that's money staying within the Nigerian economy. You know, and I feel like for the longest time, the West has really thrived off Africa being underdeveloped, right? And us not processing our raw material because, you know, that's how they make money.
Right.
If I could take your stuff for $50 and sell it for $3,000, I'm gonna be rich. But if you start finishing it and selling it at $500, which is more than the $50 you were getting before, it's hard for me to sell mine at $2,000
Right.
because it's the
Same
raw
quality,
material.
same raw material, same, but also it's a black business.
Exactly.
Right? So the money stays circulated. I talk about that in terms of small business in our community. If there's a black owned business on Tompkins Avenue, like Peace and Riot, right? They hire black people. Those black people maintain a lifestyle in the community, right? And so there's an ecosystem of business that you're creating that goes far beyond, like, obviously it's the leather, but it's bigger than the leather, right?
Absolutely.
You ever consider speaking on that, the business, the science of the business? Like, I know obviously you are an adept leather maker, right? You're adept, you're a master at that craft, but you have a science of business and you conceptualize business in a way that is advantageous to people who listen, specifically Black Americans. You ever thought about like coming and just doing that work?
I do. I mean, I do a lot of videos where I try to educate people about like, you know, African leather, African raw material, and about how the Black American community needs to work with the African community, because at the end of the day, all we got is us.
Right.
All we got is us.
Right.
Nobody wants us liberated. Nobody wants us
Right.
thinking for ourselves. Nobody wants us buying our own things. You know what I mean?
Right.
So nobody's gonna come and do it for you. All we got is us. We got to do it ourselves.
Right.
And I'm happy that union is happening now. And for the strongest time, for the longest time, I feel this is the first time the black race is really coming together. You see what's happening in Afrobeats? That has a lot to do with Black America accepting the sound, welcoming the sound into America. Drake featuring Wizkid,
Right.
and Chris
Thames,
Brown and Davido,
right.
and Thames, and you know,
Right.
over time, you know, other cats are coming up. You know, Burna Boy is selling out stadiums across the world, and now it's like, wait, this sound is really dope. The world loves the sound, but it's been dope since the 70s. But it was harder to come in because the black community didn't accept it the way it accepts it now. Now I'm in Tompkins and I can hear Burna Boy, and I can hear Wizkid and Thames,
Right.
and it's normal.
Right.
It's not even strange.
It's not.
Normal.
It's normal.
But
right.
there was a time it was weird.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so that collaboration is what can really take us to the next level,
Right.
to the global stage that we need to be playing on, that we're
Right.
capable of playing on.
Right. You and I have a connection. My mentor, Beehive, is a guy who I can never, anytime I have a conversation with Beehive, the continent comes into the conversation.
Absolutely.
And he's somebody who goes to the continent, researches, has connectivity. Tell me about your connection with him.
So Beehive is my OG, man.
Yeah, my
you know,
right.
Beehive has taught me a lot about business, a lot about life, you know. And he's also drilled the point that we really need to support each other. Like
Correct.
Africa and the Black American community, we need to work together.
Correct.
You know, I met Beehive through a record label owner in Nigeria. His name is Aldo Makori. Shout out Aldo. He's plugged me in a lot in America, you know.
Right.
And when I met Beehive, the first time we had a meeting, it was supposed to be like a short 15-minute meeting.
Right.
We ended up talking for about an hour.
Right.
And it was just, you know, plug in. And then he came to Nigeria, and you know, we just started building the relationship, you know. Funny enough, even though Beehive is an American, he introduced me to a lot of people in Nigeria.
He's plugged.
He's really plugged in Nigeria.
He's plugged,
man, you
right.
know.
Because he's a quality guy, man.
Yeah,
like he's
a real
solid guy. Yeah,
if he says he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it.
Right, and it's funny because Tunji was looking to connect us, and then Beehive calls me one morning and he's like, "Yo, I had a meeting with my guy Winston, and he mentioned you, and I was thinking about connecting the two of you, right?" So it's just funny universally how this stuff happens. I really want you to win, bro. Like whatever it is that you want here in America for your business, for your legacy, I just really want you to win. You're here for a relatively short time, right? You're here until the 15th. Tell them about what we're doing.
So we're setting up a pop-up here in New York. You know, we really want the world to see what we're capable of doing. You know, how cool Nigerian leather actually is. You know, so we got a set up in Tompkins 4143. It's called Peace and Riot. We're popping up there from tomorrow all the way to the 15th. And we're just gonna have an amazing array of good quality leather stuff, proudly made in Africa, proudly black owned. And you know, we want the world to see and compare.
Right.
You know?
Right. Absolutely. What's the hours?
So we're open from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day.
All right, we're gonna do some things together. I'm gonna bring some music. I'm gonna bring some promotion. We want to get the word out. And again, that's for me. It's like the product is the piece, right? Yeah. But it's
everything
also
I'm wearing is Winston leather.
But it's also the knowledge base that you have and the paradigm that you see. Because Beehive is right. We need to begin to work with one another. But in order to work with one another, we got to meet each other where we are, and we got to discuss these business models. Hip Hop Closet, 26-year-old company, absolutely, right? She does the same. When you talk about customization, I think about Kaisha because that's Kaisha's shit, customization. We got to build bridges, absolutely, so that all of us can win. And I think that that's kind of what needs to come out of this meeting. This is the first time you and I sit next to one another. Even though we've been talking, this is the first time we actually sit. And I think that that's what needs to come out of this is bridges that we build, because I agree with you, Black Americans and Black Africans need to collaborate and need to understand the power in that.
We're the same people. They've just divided us. Absolutely. They want to keep us divided.
Absolutely.
The time is now.
Absolutely.
We got to connect.
Absolutely. I need to come to Nigeria.
I'm going to host you, bro.
Yeah, I got to come.
I got you.
I got to come. We got Dirty December.
Be a delegate. Right there with you. I have to be as escort.
I'm not going to all in the airport. I'm going to take care of the accommodation. Everything is on me. Just let me know when you're coming.
I got you. But we need for you, and I'm going to talk to you more about this offline, we need for you to be able to speak on these concepts. I need young entrepreneurs here to hear these concepts and to hear your story so that they go into business with an independent mind and not the mind of a consumer, right? Because like I said, we here, America, it's not just Black Americans, Americans are very consumer based. Everything is brand driven in America. Everything is BMW, Benz, Polo, Gucci. Everything is based on brand recognition here in America, right? And so we got to kind of work. There's a way to work with it, right? Because Winston Luxury Leather is a brand, right? So there's a way to work with it, but also we got to change the idea of how young entrepreneurs go into business. How old are you?
I'm 33.
Yeah, young man. Yeah, young man.
You know, like I watched a movie recently. It's an old movie, but I only watched it recently. It said there's two kinds of people. There's buyers and there's sellers.
What was that, Bad Boy? Baby Boy?
You was watching
Baby Boy? He said, yo, there was this movie I was watching.
That's it. He said there's buyers and there's sellers.
Right.
For the longest time, the Black people have been buyers. We need to become sellers.
Right.
We need to step our game up.
Yeah. And it's really a pivot. It's really a basic pivot, but a basic pivot that yields so much.
Absolutely.
You know, so I'm looking forward to supporting you. We gotta do some shit this week.
Monique handbags. She's like, she wants to. Can you help me?
Yo, she gotta come out.
We got amazing leather. We sell leather to a lot of brands. You know, we're willing to support Black businesses out here. We also do white label production, so we're able to produce anything for any brand. Nice. We're already doing that for some American companies right now.
Nice.
And yeah, so hit us up. We'll sort you.
Nice. Well, we're going to rock this entire week with Winston at Peace and Riot. We're also going to do something at Moonglow. That's why I wanted you on Tompkins Avenue. So Tompkins Avenue, we call Tompkins Avenue Black Girls Room. It's 28. That strip has 28 businesses, 28 small businesses. Out of those 28 businesses, 16 of them are owned by Black women.
Amazing.
And so you are on the strip where we can make this happen. Make manifestors across the street. You know, you're at Peace and Ride, you have Bedvine Brew. So we're gonna do some dope shit this week. I really want to get people charged up. You know, I want you to leave feeling like your time here was valuable.
Absolutely.
And so that when I come to Nigeria in December, you like,
When
yeah,
we
man.
come.
Nah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I love it. No. I got you in Nigeria. I live in Lagos. Lagos is the capital. Well, not the political capital,
Right.
but the capital of Nigeria.
Right.
So you come to Nigeria, you got to be in Lagos,
Right.
and I'm gonna make sure you have a good time.
What's up with my brother out in Lagos? He's doing his thing out there.
Tunji's doing his thing out there, man.
Yeah.
Tunji is a really good friend. He's
Yeah.
been really, really instrumental in the New York play. You know, I met Tunji through his beard brand, actually.
Yes.
You know, we got connected. He's a serious business
Yeah.
guy.
I'm on the commercial. You see me in the commercial?
Yeah, I seen
Yeah,
that.
I'm on the commercial. Yeah,
I
I'm on
saw
the
that
commercial.
before I knew who you were.
Yeah, see, you know what I'm saying? I'm heavy out there, Kyle. I'm already heavy in Nigeria. You know what I'm saying? I'm already heavy
That's
out
why you
there.
need a chaperone.
See?
Two chaperones. I need two chaperones. Dan is gonna yell at you. I'm
We'll
gonna be
talk to
there.
DJ
To
OB,
make
see
sure
if we
don't
can
do
get you at
anything
OB's
crazy.
house. That's like a
Yeah, Obi,
OB's
yeah,
house.
man. I've been trying to work with Obi. That's something me and B have been
You
talking
talk to
about.
B-Hab.
And
That's
Obi will
what-
be here September 2nd.
Oh man.
Yeah, he said
We just had a show with Obi in Atlanta like 2 days ago.
I wasn't
Amazing.
crazy,
Shut
right?
down.
Crazy.
Shut down.
Yeah. Are you married?
Yeah, I'm married.
Kids?
No kids.
No kids yet.
Taking my time.
Does your wife travel with you?
No, well, yes and no. So she's still trying to get a visa to the States.
Right.
But immediately after our tour in the States, we're doing two locations in England as well. So she's coming on that. She's actually the brand manager.
Nice.
Yeah,
Keep it
yeah.
in the family, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
keep
started
it in
the business
family.
together. You know,
Yeah,
she's an
keep it in the
amazing
family.
woman.
Keep
Yeah.
it in the family, bruh. I'm so happy to meet you, dog.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thanks for
and we
having
want
me.
your story. We got this, right? Because we want to be running this. I want to run this, you know, for the next couple of days so that people understand who this man is and that he's here, right? Because we want to welcome him with open arms. We want his time here to be successful, but we also want to create bridges so that we can work together to build success.
Absolutely.
Right?
All we got is us.
Right. You got any questions? God, you into fashion. I'm not. I just do me. But you got any questions, or are we gonna get a Winston hip hop closet
Yes,
collabo? Because I need
absolutely,
I need
yes.
a
We've
good
been
You've
shirt.
been lining that up already.
Yeah, I need that. I need that
look.
look.
I
Leathers,
already,
yeah.
I already have all my ideas.
Yeah, I need that look. I need
Yeah.
that. Oh, I saw. So Tunji came with me. We was getting drunk at Brew, right? Right. So on a Monday, we had a meeting. When we had a meeting with Peace and Riot, Tunji and me was at Brew, and he had like a whole. Like he just was going
Oh
through
yeah,
leather skins,
that's what's been
right?
over here. In the
Yeah, he
office.
just
We've
was
been looking
going.
at
I
it.
said, "What the fuck?" He had like tons of skins that he
Yeah.
just was going
Catalog,
through.
man.
Yeah. Nah, he's working. Believe me, he's definitely doing it. All right, we good.
Yes.
Anybody got any questions?
Any questions out there? I mean, Shannon's handbag. She says she makes and designs handbags, and she's in Atlanta by way of Connecticut. So
She needs to connect
she
my
miss
man.
you. Yeah, I told her go to your IG. Go to
Yeah,
his
she
IG.
needs to make that connection. All right.
All right.
We will see y'all at Peace and Riot.
And remember, we're taking a break.
Right, we're taking a break. We won't be back till after Labor Day. When we come back from Labor Day, we'll tell you about our travel plans to Nigeria. That's happening. You know what I'm saying? Kai may or may not be going. You know what I'm saying?
That was an excellent.
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be out there, and we will see y'all soon. But in the meantime, you'll tune in to the Hip Hop Closet IG page. We're gonna have tons of information, maybe some throwbacks from old shows or whatever like that. But stay tuned, and we'll see you after Labor Day. All right?
All right, peace.
Peace.
Oh, and I want the sneaker lord.
No, impossible. You got on Pumas. Look at my patent leather. I got Winston leather. I got Winston leather. Nike stuff.
Later.
You know what I'm saying?